Hello everyone, welcome back to Think Lab by Saurabh. So today we are going to understand one of the most important concepts in artificial intelligence we call reinforcement learning or also called RL. So if you have ever wondered how robots learn to walk and how self-driving car improve over the time or how AlphaGo defeat the world most champions, right? So the answer is the reinforcement learning. So in this video, I will explain reinforcement learning in the simplest technical way with practical example. So let's get started. So the first question is, what is the reinforcement learning? So reinforcement learning is a type of machine learning. So instead of learning from the labeled data, an AI isn't learned by interacting with its own environment, right? The agent perform an action, the environment gives the feedback. If the action is good, the agent receive and reward. If the action is bad, it received a penalty or lower rewards. So over the time, the agent learn which action produced the highest reward. So this is exactly how humans learn in many skills. So if you take the real world example, imagine you are teaching a dog. When the dog sits correctly, you give it a treat. When the dogs behave incorrectly, it get no rewards. So after many repetitions, so dog learned that the sitting leads to reward. So reinforcement learning work in exactly the same way. So the only difference is that instead of dog, we have an AI agent. So there are four components, right? There are four main components. So let's understand the four important components. So first is agent. So the agent is the learner or decision maker. It could be a robot, software program, or even a game playing AI. And the second is the environment. So the environment is everything around the agent. It responds to every action taken by the agent. And the third is the state. So the state represents the correct situation. For example, in chess, arrangement of all the pieces on the board is the current state. Fourth one is the action. So an action is a decision made by the agent, and for example, moving a chess piece or turning a street wheels in a car. So finally come the reward. So a rewards tell the agent whether the action was good or bad. So the goal is always maximize the total rewards, right? So now we are moving to the reinforcement learning cycle. So let's see how learning happens step by step. So step one, the agent absorb the current state. Step two is the choose the an action. Step three is the environment reacts, and the step four is the agent receive a reward. And step five is the agent update the learning strategy. And step six is the process repeat thousand or even millions of times. So eventually the agent discover the best possible strategy. So what is the policy here? So a policy is simply the brain of an agent. So it's defined what action should be taken in every situation. So initially the policy is random. So as a learning process, the policy becomes the smarter. Well-trained policy consists many better decisions. Now we are talking about what is the value function. So a value function estimates the how good a particular state is. Instead of asking, is this action good? It asks how valuable this situation for future rewards. So this helps the agent think ahead instead of making short-term decision, right? So now we are talking about the exploration versus exploitations, right? So one of the biggest challenges in the reinforcement learning is the balancing the two strategy. First is the exploration. The agent try to find the new actions. If the fail, it discover the better solution, right? And second one is the exploitations. So the agent use the best action already know. So too much exploration wasted the time. Too much exploitation may miss the better opportunity. So successful reinforcement agent balance the both, right? So now we are moving to the popular reinforcement learning algorithm. So there are several algorithms have been deployed for the reinforcement learning. So the q learning is the simplest algorithm. So deep q network or dqn, so combine the reinforcement learning with the deep learning, right? There is another algorithm is PPO, proximal policy optimization. It is widely used for the modern AI system, right? So PPO full form is a proximal policy optimization. And now we have another algorithms, A3C. It's allow multiple agents to learn simultaneously. Another also is there like SAC, so useful for continuous control the problem like robotics. TD3 is also there. So improve the stability in continuous action environment. So these are all the famous reinforcement learning algorithms. So each algorithm designed for different problem. So now we are talking about the real world applications. So reinforcement learning is used in many industry like game playing AI, like AlphaGo, self-driving vehicles, industrial robot, warehouse automation, algorithm trading, even the recommendation system, smart energy management, autonomous drone. So we have used this reinforcement learning. So modern AI agent also use this reinforcement learning for planning and decision making, right? So now we are talking about what is the advantage of this reinforcement learning. So there are many advantages. So it's learned through the experience, right? So this is the first one. Second one is that it does not require the label data set. It can solve the complex sequential decision problem, right? Another one is it's continuously improve the with more interactions, right? And it's adapt the changing environment. So these are the advantage of the reinforcement learning. And there are definitely there are few challenges are also there. So reinforcement learning also have a limitation, like training requires a huge number of interaction. Learning can be very slow. So designing the reward function is difficult. Training often requires expensive hardware, and poorly designed rewards may produce the unexpected behavior, right? So now we are going to just compare the reinforcement learning versus supervised machine learning. So many beginners confuse these two. In supervised machine learning, the model learn from the correct answer, right? And data set is already contain the label. But in the reinforcement learning, there are no correct answer. The agent learn only from the rewards and experience. So this makes reinforcement learning suitable for decision making problem. Now we are talking about the what are the different future for the reinforcement learning. So the reinforcement learning is becoming the the future is very important, right? Very vast. It's powered the autonomous robot. It will improve the AI agent. It's enable the intelligent automation. It also help AI agent to make long term decision, right? So as the generative AI, agentic AI continue to evolve, so the reinforcement learning will become one of the most core technology behind the intelligent continuous autonomous system, right? So now we are going to conclude this video. So let's quickly recap it. So reinforcement learning is the learning through the trial and error. So the agent interact with the environment. It receives the rewards. It improves its policy over the time. So the objective is to maximize the long-term rewards. And this technology already transforming the robotics, gaming, autonomous driving, finance, and different intelligent AI agent. So if you enjoyed this video, so don't forget to like, share, subscribe to Think Live with Soro. So thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Happy learning.